Now let's take a closer look at a big little event that happened last week. It was VMware Explore time, and unfortunately I wasn't there. I think neither were you. It's one of those things which is a little bit sad because we've been going to VMware Explore for many years and VMworld before that, and we watched as VMware's position in the market has changed intentionally. And I think that's pretty much what we saw at VMware Explore. I have to say that I'm not one of those people who's going out there and crying crocodile tears over the changes that are happening to VMware because, frankly, it's a business and that's what businesses do. And I'm sorry to have to say it that way, but that's how it is. The community, the people, well, that's not a business and we miss each other, but we actually still get to hang out together and see each other at other events. And I think that the community will survive regardless of what VMware ends up doing as a company. But that being said, I think that it is really sad to think that this is sort of the end of an era when it comes to VMware and VMworld being the center of the IT universe, considering that it went from a conference that would have literally over 20,000 people to estimates say about 5,000 this year. We also, of course, have seen a radical shrinkage in the number of products and the variety of products coming out of VMware. And again, that's a very explicit business decision by Broadcom to focus the company on its most profitable and important businesses. So let's talk a little bit about those products, unless actually, Alistair, you want to jump in with any reflections on your own experience with VMworld.
Well, yeah, like you, VMworld has been the gathering of the clan for me, and in fact, it was my very first VMworld, coming straight from the airport, that I met you, and followed along with you to start getting introduced to the wider community at VMware that particular day, and it is a little sad that after all of these years, since 2011, I've been involved in almost every VMworld event and attended almost all of the in-person ones since then. And I was not at VMworld this year, VMworld Explore as I like to call it, and primarily because the V Brown Bag Tech Talks couldn't attract sponsorship. The change of focus that Broadcom has made to say that the conference is about, and the company is about, those largest, most significant customers who are making the most use, and particularly what we've seen is they're very focused on VMware Cloud Foundation as being the entry point. So the customers that Broadcom cares about are the ones that get value out of VMware Cloud Foundation, that like that whole integrated suite of pieces. And we've already covered on the rundown previously the release or the upcoming release of VMware Cloud Foundation 9 with all of the new goodness, and that still hasn't shipped. We're still waiting for it. But some other things were also announced at VMware Explore this year. What we noticed as a community was a lack of VMware branding on a lot of things. Many of these things were straight up branded Broadcom. So Broadcom announced Tanzu Platform 10. Like all development platforms and platforms at all, more generative AI is built into Tanzu Platform version 10, both from the perspective of building generative AI applications. VMware, like many providers, has recognized that building generative AI applications is a very difficult activity, and that the more they can provide tooling to simplify that process, build the expertise in generative AI into the tool so you can actually build your business application using generative AI. This is one of the two big things that I saw coming into the Tanzu Platform 10. The other one was more of the sort of governance, the enterprise scale governance for building these applications with great agility. We know that cloud native development and DevOps practices are often at conflict with the sort of slow governance and control processes that enterprises require. And managing that sort of disparity is an important part of having a good tool set and enabling agility without losing that. One of the things that also we saw in the Tanzu platform is support for VMware Private AI, the Foundation with NVIDIA product. That collection is again coming into Tanzu platform, so we're not just building applications that are calling external AI services, but can use AI within our own. The other AI-related thing I noticed in there was around the Edge AI, and this is a combination of VeloCloud supporting more transient low-bandwidth links like fixed wireless and satellite network links. And I've always liked VeloCloud as a software-defined network and network security platform. The other thing we saw in the Edge AI was some improvements to the Edge Orchestrator platform for delivering applications out into those edge locations, because the connectivity is important, but ultimately we're delivering applications and we're delivering data out into these edge locations. There were a few other announcements, more of the products that I'm less personally interested in, some more Broadcom products being brought into the broader suite of what VMware customers might have used in the past. But we definitely see this focus on the smaller number of customers who are very committed to the VMware Cloud Foundation platform and helping them to get more value out of it by getting them committed to more Broadcom products. The other element that we saw at the conference, or we saw reported from the conference since neither of us were there, was less presence of partners. So Broadcom has this huge suite of capabilities themselves, and there seems to be less incentive for partner organizations to come along. Now, this also applies because these large organizations that Broadcom are focused on are also the focus for a lot of the OEM partners, and they'll have direct relationships with the large customers. Because VMware Explore is no longer that meeting of all of the tribes of all of the smaller customers, there's less value for the OEMs like IBM and Cisco to be at the conference because they already have relationships with those same customers. So we definitely have seen that big change in what the VMware Explore, or as we'll probably see it in the future, Broadcom Explore conference is. And it really does map to what Broadcom said they were doing from the beginning. I think, like you, Stephen, I've seen wailing and gnashing of teeth of people who are upset by the fact that Broadcom has done exactly what Broadcom said it would do. Like you, I understand that this is a business, it's not all a hobby. There are all kinds of other places that communities can gather, and subsets of that community has formed around Tech Field Day and the events that we run with Tech Field Day.
Well, thanks a lot for that perspective, Alistair. I have to say I agree with much of what you said, and also I would say that it is important to keep in mind that as VMware has shifted and focused on certain customers, that opens up the door to other companies and other exciting new products that can fill in those gaps. Everywhere that VMware once had a product offering, well, that's another place for another half a dozen startups to jump in. And everywhere that VMware once had a product manager and software developers and customer support and everything, well, those people are maybe destined to find themselves in a young, exciting startup doing something else fun and interesting. So, things do change, and it's sad to see them change, but frankly, Broadcom is opening as many doors as they're closing by moving out of various areas. When it comes to some of these announcements, though, I do want to call attention to a few of them. Like you said, we heard at AI Field Day last time about the ability to run Edge AI applications and data center AI applications on VMware. And VMware is very strongly positioning themselves as sort of a universal platform for running AI applications. And that's we're seeing more of that in both Cloud Foundation and Tanzu Platform 10. And it would be a poor choice if I didn't mention that we are going to see VMware at AI Field Day, which is coming up here next week. And I'm sure that we'll hear a lot more about this at that event. We're also going to see VMware at Edge Field Day, and that is likely to see some of this software-defined Edge with VeloCloud, the Edge Orchestrator platform, that sort of thing. So there is still a lot of really interesting things happening at VMware. There are a lot of new developments coming out of Broadcom. And yes, it's not the same company that it was, and it's not the same world that it was when that company has changed. But the community is still here, the people are still here, and I actually look forward to some more new and exciting developments coming out of VMware and out of the former VMware folks in the coming years. So keep an eye on it. You know, it's change, and change is always hard, but change is sometimes exciting.